Capitol Hill to your backyard. It's Congressman Michael Waltz on the Greg Tish Show.
Joining us on the phone, Congressman Michael Waltz. How are you doing, my friend?
We're living the dream, buddy. We're living the dream in snowy, miserable D.C.
Yeah. I have been watching your Twitter. You have been very active, not only on Twitter, but up on Capitol Hill with putting out just a lot of stuff. Let's go over some of these. Every day it seems that you're introducing, and what I like is a lot of this, or actually I think everything you've been posting out has been bipartisan.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there are still a few, not many, but a few reasonable Democrats that we can work with that just don't buy into the progressive agenda that Pelosi, Schumer, and Harris, California and New York are pushing and trying to push on the country.
Yeah, it's been very nice to see that happening. I mean, because all this talk before Biden took office was, hey, when we come in, it's all going to be about unity, and we have not seen that hardly at all. But yet, with these few that you're mentioning that are actually reaching across at the hands that y'all are offering has been very good to see.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, it should be a bipartisan issue, for example, to hold the line when it comes to the murderous Maduro regime in Venezuela, when it comes to Cuba. This notion that seems to permeate amongst the left when it comes to our foreign policy, that if we're nice to dictators, they'll be nice to us and they'll be nice to their own people, just doesn't work, has never worked. And so, we've drawn a red line when it comes to some of Biden's nominees, when it comes to holding the line with dictatorships like Cuba, like Venezuela. We've drawn a red line when it comes to the human rights abuses that are so awful when it comes to China, how they are literally committing genocide on their own people with concentration camps and forced labor, which, by the way, a number of big-name American companies are benefiting from. And so we want to know if Biden's nominees that are coming before us, which is basically all the same people that were there with Obama, it's Obama's third term, believe that that's genocide and agree that it's genocide, needs to take strong action when it comes to keeping the American dream alive around the world, rather than the Chinese version of their dream. Which is brutal. So it's a number of things, and I want to give a shout out. It's also working with our state, working with Governor DeSantis, working with Speaker Chris Sprowls, and the Senate President Wilton Simpson. They have a great big tech transparency bill that they're introducing that will not only protect your privacy and your data, but also protect you against censorship from big tech. It's time to take that head on. So we're busy, man. We're fighting the good fight.
Yeah, one of the confirmations that you're asking to hold with the Commerce Department, and if you could expound on that, about what you're asking Biden. Well, not just you, but like this is a bipartisan issue that several of you and your colleagues are asking the president or the Biden administration to hold off on a particular confirmation.
Yeah, this is on their Department of Commerce, Governor Raimondo, and basically, does she agree, because she kind of hedged during her nomination, that the Chinese shouldn't be putting their computer chips and the equipment for 5G cell manufacturing through a company called Huawei all over the world and all over the United States. That would mean they could essentially, vacuum up everything that passes through those towers. She kind of hedged, and we need her to say that they're not going to use this company Huawei in any of our networks, and we'll blacklist it for using our allies' networks as well. So those are the types of things that we need to get commitments on right up front.
And that just seems like a basic, easy thing to say. Are you going to use this company? No.
Yeah, it should have been. It's been on the list. The intelligence is clear. The Chinese intent is clear. It should have been. And I just want to give one more shout out, and that's to our men and women in the National Guard. They have been called up for COVID, for natural disasters, for social unrest. They still have their overseas requirements. And I'm also asking, what is this massive threat that requires more National Guardsmen on our capital than we have in Afghanistan and Iraq combined? January 6th was a terrible thing. We had a peaceful transfer on January 20th, even though, I agree with you. The unity talk is a bunch of talk right now. But, these poor men and women were sucked out of their jobs and their lives, and now they're going to be here for months. And for what? We ought to at least all understand, if the threat's that big and massive, what is it? What is the specific group? Yeah, exactly. And what's the plan going forward? I mean, is Pelosi going to, essentially use this as her private security force? And they're standing out in the snow right now, staring at a gate rather than being home with their families. And we demand answers on that too.
Yeah. How with COVID relief? How are we looking with that? Because there seems to be, again, various numbers that are being thrown around out there with COVID relief.
Yeah, I put that out in my tweet or my Twitter. I'd encourage everybody to look at it. There's almost $1 trillion still unused from what we've already passed in the last 5 bills. And that's money, Paycheck Protection Program, that's money for schools. That's money. It's basically money across the board to get vaccines out that the Biden administration still hasn't spent. It's $1 trillion of the taxpayers' money. So before we throw another couple of trillion on of our grandkids' money that we're borrowing from China, by the way, we should use the monies that we already have, and anything additional needs to be targeted to COVID relief, not a progressive wish list. And whether they try to cram that through or work with us on that remains to be seen.
That's a lot of money sitting out there. I mean, then as you just said, that's a lot of our grandkids' money sitting out there.
It is. I mean, it takes, I'm on the Armed Services Committee. It takes the Pentagon an entire year to spend their $600 billion budget. Now, this is $1 trillion that's going to go through much smaller agencies like Health and Human Services and Education Department. They need to spend it. They need to protect it against fraud, waste, and abuse. And I think it is sufficient to deal with this crisis and get it out, for the stimulus pieces, get it out into people's hands, not up here in D.C., before we keep piling more and more money on. But what this really is a vehicle and an umbrella for the progressive agenda. Mm-hmm. That's what this really is, and that's why we need to hold the line.
Mm. Well, Congressman, I thank you for calling in today. Usually, we try to one-up each other every once in a while. I don't think I've told you something that you might be proud. Maddie knows about this. Well, a lot of people. 35 days, 9 hours, 47 minutes, and I have not smoked 708 cigarettes.
Fantastic.
It's great. 35 days of not smoking.
That's fantastic, man. That's really great. Proud of you. And next time I call in, we're going to add another 14.
Oh, heck yeah. Well, Congressman, I appreciate you taking the time to call us this morning. And go Bucks.
Hey, go Bucks and #Florida.
#Florida. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Congressman Michael Waltz.